Welcome to Scare Confident. I'm your host, Tiffany Souter. Ready or not, summer is coming very quickly. And I am big on looking ahead into these seasons of change because that's when everything tends to break, things get crazy, you get behind, and then you're screwed because there's no time to catch up when life is really busy. So I made a list of some things that I am doing to get ready for summer. And even some of these are just like things I've learned that make summer go a little smoother. The kids are home alone some. We'll have our nanny some. I'll work from home some. It's like every day is kind of different. Sometimes my big kids will be off at camp. Sometimes they'll be home. It's a big season of lots of family and cousins for us. And so that unpredictability can be really exhausting, actually, when you're working and you're trying to keep some semblance of like cadence and availability. And like you're still working Monday through Friday, but the kids are not getting on the bus every morning. And it's like, well, they wake up at 8:30. Well, they wake up at 10:30. Like what will happen? And that variability for me can be really, really hard. So I've learned a few things. This is maybe this episode will be nothing more than a reminder for you to like, hey, get the troops together. You've got to talk about what summer's going to look like and how you're going to get through it as gracefully and as fun as possible. Or maybe you'll pick up a few tips to help you in your world because it's just hard. There's like all this pressure on it to be fun and it's hard. I think summertime is the hardest season to be a working parent. I've always felt like that no matter what season we were in, if I was like crushing it and going crazy, or if I've got flexibility, it's just a hard season to be a working parent because there's a lot going on, a lot of last minute changes and plans. And that stuff eats me alive. It's hard. So, okay. The first is I went through an exercise of, you can do this in a family meeting or you can just talk to each person individually, but understanding what are everybody's priorities for the summer. Because as the chief operating officer of the household, the COO, your job is to facilitate the priorities. Either make the priorities or understand from other people, like what is it that's important to you so that as I'm making choices on who goes where and what I solve for and what we spend money on, I know what's important to you versus it just being my lens of what I think is important. And I find, especially as my kids get older, like I want them to make choices in their actual lives when they get older. And so how do I understand their priorities so that I can make choices in what would be important to me if I was 15 again? So that's one. What is the family priority? And in that meeting, printing off the summer so that everybody can see like when is the last day of school and how many actual weeks are there between last day of school and school starting. And then even penciling in things like, when are we going to do back to school shopping? When are we going to get your physicals done? Because that always has to be done before the school starts again. Like that, even that kind of stuff I put on the calendar because otherwise every single Friday, Saturday will be covered up. And then we'll be going back to school and my girls will make it my fault that we didn't have time to go back to school shopping. So like I put that stuff in there too. What are the things we have to get done? My oldest just finished her driver's training, like stuff online. And so she's going to need hours in the car. Like she's going to plan her whole schedule summer with all this fun stuff, but she's got a summer course she has to take and she has to do driver's training. So me putting that in front of her and putting that in front of them before we even get to summer helps take away this tug of war of mom told me I can't come over because I have to work on my course. I didn't decide to take a summer class. You decided to take a summer class. So my job is to help you facilitate that choice. And let's look at that together so that I'm not the bad guy telling you no, that you have to study and you're not mad at me because I'm holding you accountable for the thing that you chose to do. So this family priorities backdrop, that can be done in a meeting or that can be done in like one-off conversations. I'm very visual, so it's hard for me to have those conversations without something to look at. So I usually print off the calendar, like literally just go to Google Calendar and print off months so that you can see the weeks. The second thing, every summer, I tell myself, I am also a customer of summer. Too many times I got to the end of summer and I literally had never put a swimsuit on. Like I might have dropped kids off at the pool. I might have brought pizza home for a bunch of kids in my backyard, but I never actually sat beside a fire and roasted a marshmallow. I never actually had a glass of wine on the backyard. I remember one summer, there was literally mushrooms growing underneath our patio furniture. That was how little we were like home and experiencing summer. I was like, there are mushrooms growing, people. Like, what in the world I hadn't put a swimsuit on and it was like August 3rd because I can get very much into task mode and I'm into facilitating everybody else's everything. And I don't put myself on the calendar too. So over the last couple summers, I've done way better at everybody needs a friend with a boat and a friend with a pool. I have a friend with a pool and she's been so gracious about like having girls' nights over at her place sometimes. And we sit in the pool and we hash and we talk and we just catch up. And now I know to be like, hey, Laura, when are we going to like go over to your pool and hang out and have fun? Because that's part of summer for me is being with my friends in that way and making sure that it happens. So what do you need to have happen in summer for you to feel like, I also felt summer? One of the things I've been doing is getting up really early in the morning. I have to take Aubrey to practice and I run at 6 a.m. She has to be at practice. And so I just park the car literally at the high school and I just run from there for a couple miles and feeling the spring air, hearing the birds, smelling like nature. I don't put AirPods in has been a great way for me to like experience this warmth because all afternoon and evening I'm driving kids to practice. Like I'm not able easily to just go take a 3-mile walk in the afternoon or the evening because somebody's got to be somewhere. And so again, I like to feel nature. I like to feel like I got a swimsuit on. I like to feel like I got to do some things that look, smell, and feel like summer. So you pick your things, but don't forget, put those things on the calendar too and let your family know because you need to be a customer of summer as well. Okay, the third thing I'm doing right now is updating some key like kid zones. So I don't know if your fam does this, but like my kids just get bored with everything kind of all of a sudden, it feels like. So I'm doing a couple things. One is I'm updating some stuff. So we have like a little Tyke's Kitchen house and a sandbox and that kind of area. So I got some new grill food. I got a new bucket, just a few things. I'm getting a new rug. I'm cleaning it up, just like throwing away the trash, a few new things. That's what I mean by update your kid zones. I probably spent $70. I don't know, not that much money. And it's going to look and feel way better. And I know the kids are going to use it a ton more because it looks like it's ready to play. Get all the spiders out, all that kind of stuff. I also bought like this massive bubble wand, huge bubble wand. Who knows if it'll work or not. I got some of those reusable water balloons that, I don't know, kind of like magnetically go together. So that's what I mean. Just like getting a few new outdoor toys, getting new sidewalk chalk, getting some new hula hoops. I got a bunch of orange cones and the girls are all into like making obstacle courses out of them. And last year our trampoline ripped down the middle. And so we're getting a new trampoline. So that's what I mean. Like just updating it. I like often think to myself, I will think nothing about signing a kid up for a week of camp that's $300 to $700. But then I like haw around like crazy being like, I don't know if I should spend $16 getting some new sand buckets. We already have one. And I've thought in my head of like, instead of spending all this money, sending them somewhere else that has all this stuff, what does it look like if I just update what we have at home so that A, I don't have to drive them and B, they get to experience those things at home. So I'll also go to Hobby Lobby and buy a bunch of new markers and construction paper and stickers, just update our craft area so that there's some fresh new things for summer. It will just give us hours back. I know this because there's like new fun stuff there. So I'll sort it out. I'll thin it out. You know, like we've been inside a lot. Things kind of get a little heckery. And so updating your key kid zones, go to Amazon, buy a few new summer toys. My sister-in-law got us one of these last year. It's like this little styrofoam rocket that you like step and then the rocket goes like flying in the air. And it's like literally fun for both Quincy and JR and I. It's so fun. So take a minute, go to Amazon, spend a couple $100, update some things, clean out some cobwebs, move some things around. I'll probably also like move where our play kitchen is in the basement to a different wall. Moving things just gives kids a new sense of it. And I just find it like makes it all new again. So that's some of what I'm doing too. Updating key kid zones, making it a little zhuzhing it up. We are not like a Pinterest. Like it doesn't look like Pinterest in my house. It very much looks like people live there. So it doesn't have to all be monochromatic and match and be from Pottery Barn Kids. It doesn't have to be that hard and expensive. It can literally just be fun. Okay, I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to do this year. I feel like food is always kind of a struggle in the summer because the kids eat way more meals at home and they oftentimes need to make things that are like, I need to have stuff on hand that they could easily make. I like leftovers for dinner. And so when they eat all that for lunch, I'm just like cooking and making a lot more food. I'm going to have the kids make the menu for breakfast and lunch. And I'll probably give them like 3 to 5 slots on the grocery list just so we don't have a ton of junk food and crap of snacks that they want for the summertime. So each week when I make groceries, I'll have them figure out the breakfast and the lunch menu. I'll order the ingredients. And then if there's a couple of like, I don't know, like, Mom, we want some powdered donuts for our coffee this week, or we want some croissants. I don't know what they are, but like some things. That way I am not guessing what everybody wants to eat. It's way more than one less decision I have to make. And it gives them a chance to like conceptualize, what do you guys want to eat? Or they might go to Pinterest and pick a new recipe that they want to make, or a deconstructed sushi roll. I don't know, but it's part of teaching them how to cook, teaching them how to like maybe tackle some new projects, and it takes some decision making away. So that's going to be a new thing I'm going to try. And I think it's going to be great. I think actually they'll love it, and it will be just less for me. Maybe I'll even put Instacart on their phones. I might do this and have the big girls just even like add to cart the ingredients that we need. I think I'm going to do that. Even one less step for me. Amazing. Love less steps for Mom. Another thing I do to update key kid zones, I go crash Goodwill. They have great stuff for like painting. So like vases, picture frames. Sometimes they have games there that like, I don't know if they're going to be fun or not, but for $2, we can try it. Bookends. Sometimes we'll go get books and like you can spray paint them like all the same color, and just like giving them low cost stuff to just paint and experiment with. And I don't know, just experiment, destroy it. Whatever needs to happen is fine. Oftentimes there's baby dolls there that are totally all plastic. And so I'll use those as pool toys, because inevitably 60% of your pool toys get left at the public pool. Always, that's what happens. So I'll go to Goodwill. I'll crash Goodwill a couple times this summer and go look through the toys and the games and the vases and all that stuff and look for projects for the girls to do. Again, totally low lift. I'll probably go in between, like while somebody's at practice and I have 40 minutes between. But that's another like kind of low cost thing that I do. And they love Goodwill actually. And we're not afraid of a garage sale too. A little harder to hit because usually they're on Saturday morning and we're running kids around. But garage sales can also be a good spot for that. Okay, my last thing is just make the schedule visible. I will have the entire summer schedule on the fridge. I'll print out calendars and I will literally write on every single day who's at camp and who's in charge at home. That way I know I've got the entire summer covered. Every single day is either a sitter or a big kid or myself that's kind of in charge at home. And the big kids know what days they've committed to watch the little kids. And those are days that they have jobs, you know, like you can't call into your job and say you're not going to be available. And so then they can go and manage that. The summer is a great time for my big kids to make some money. And so when they've committed to me to jobs or watching the littles, those are commitments. Like, you have a job. I'm not going to renegotiate with you. If you can change with your sister, no problem. I don't mind that. But this is solved and I'm not resolving it. So I'll make it visible. We'll review it every single weekend in our family meeting. Obviously make any adjustments as needed. But for the most part, once we get to summer, I want it solved. I don't want micro solving in the week because that makes everything so hard. I get so grumpy when I don't have time to actually get anything done in my day because the only thing I'm doing is scheduling the next day. And you know what those days feels like. And we'll have a couple because something will break. But I don't want my whole summer to feel that way. I've been there before where I'm like, I'll just figure it out when I get there. Doesn't work. Well, I'm really hoping that this is like a great summer for your family. It should be fun. But also we have to admit to ourselves it's a little bit more work. There's a lot of expectations from a lot of people. Our kids have expectations. Our family has expectations. A lot of expectations to manage. Somebody's going to be let down. But hopefully these tips can help you and your family have a little better summer. And so it's filled with more together time than conflict. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Scared Confident. Until next time, keep telling fear. You will not decide what happens in my life. I will.